What's going on, YouTube? Another day and another same topic. Today, again, I wanted to talk a little bit more about real estate prices in Los Angeles and how these fires in particular are going to impact the inflation rate. Okay? Obviously, we've been hearing a lot of stories in Los Angeles on the local news about how some landlords are really starting to take advantage of the situation and jacking up their rental prices. Kind of a dirtbag, scumbag move, but for a lot of these landlords who were, taken advantage of during COVID, now they're going to utilize this opportunity to reap some of that back, right? They're definitely going to take advantage of this opportunity, and they're going to raise their rents drastically. And unfortunately, these people are vulnerable, and they're more than likely going to pay it, especially the people in the areas like Pasadena and Pacific Palisades. These are very wealthy communities, and these people have the money to pay. If the guy wants, let's just say, for example, $5,000 to rent out a house, these landlords are going to double the price, and some people will pay it, unfortunately. And that's not good. That's not good for inflation, because all of that information in time, maybe not right now, but all of that information will get absorbed by the Federal Reserve and put into or incorporated into the Consumer Price Index, which actually came out today. So the CPI report was released today, and headline CPI rose 2.9% year over year. Not good. Inflation is trending upward. Not good. Core CPI increased 3.2% year over year. Again, a little bit lower than expectations, but still trending upward. That's not good, because what that really means is the Federal Reserve is more than likely not going to be cutting interest rates. And when the Fed doesn't cut interest rates, that means that mortgage rate relief is not on the horizon. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about how these fires and all of these landlords who are probably more than likely going to be taking advantage of the situation, especially when they really got the short end of the stick during COVID. A lot of people didn't, pay their rent for a very long time. And a lot of these landlords went belly up. And you couldn't, foreclose, or you couldn't evict. And so they're definitely going to utilize this opportunity and exploit the situation. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But let's talk about how these shelter costs and how, rental prices are going to impact the CPI report in the future. From what I know, basically, I was listening to a podcast the other day with Dr. Lacey Hunt. He used to work for the Federal Reserve in Dallas, and he was basically a financial advisor for the Reserve. He basically said the way that the Federal Reserve collects data, rental data, and shelter costs is they get on the phone and they call a few thousands of people, homeowners in particular, and they say, "Hi, Jimmy," or "Hi, Jane. If you were to sell your house today, what would you sell your house for? If you were to rent out your house today, what would you rent your house out for?" Being humans, what we have a tendency to do is exaggerate a little bit. So there's a very high probability that the shelter data that's getting incorporated into the CPI report is probably a little bit more inflated. Like, I'll give you an example. If somebody calls me up and says, "Hey, Cameron, if you were going to sell your house today, what would you sell it for?" I would embellish and I would throw out a much bigger number. I'd probably increase the price by 20%. Well, if I was going to sell it, I'd sell it for 1.3, right? And it's really only worth 1. So that's just the way it is. And unfortunately, they take that number that I give to them and they put it in a formula, and it comes out with an inflation number, right? And that number gets incorporated into the CPI report. So unfortunately, the CPI numbers that we're getting are probably a little bit higher than what they really are. Now, when we take into consideration in the future what's going to happen, that number is going to go even higher. It's already trending upward, and that's not good. So, that's not good. It's definitely not good, and it just means higher for longer, higher for longer, higher for longer, higher for longer. These interest rates, the Federal Reserve isn't going to be cutting interest rates anytime soon. So mortgage rate relief is not on the horizon, which means the demand for housing will continue to stay flatlined. The demand for automotive loans will continue to stay flat. Business loans, cars, this is all negative downward pressure on the economy. And a lot of these businesses are required to have low interest rates for their businesses to be sustainable. A lot of these companies are legitimately zombie companies. They have to have low interest rates so they can borrow money to pay the interest payment on the debt that they already have. Like, it's totally out of whack. It's completely insane. But this is the truth, and this is the reality of the situation. And all of these houses that went up in flames are going to have a huge impact on the inflation rate in the future going forward. It's just the way it is. Shelter costs are incorporated into the CPI, and unfortunately, the price of shelter is going up. When it comes to rental properties, that's different. Renting an apartment is different from purchasing a home. It's two totally different things. The demand for rental units is going to go up because these people don't have anywhere to live. The demand for purchasing a home is still going to be flatlined because interest rates aren't going up, or they're not going down anytime soon. It's not looking like it, especially with these CPI numbers. It's not good. And if they continue to go upward, they might even have to raise rates again, which I don't think anyone was thinking about, but the bond market is starting to price that in. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of perspective on that and how, this could really impact the economy in the future, and how recessionary this could potentially be for Los Angeles County real estate, automotive, the whole economy could potentially be in recession if it's not in recession already. These fires could really exacerbate and create a bigger problem. And then it really begs the question, in a year, so it's the beginning of 2025. At the end of 2025, where will mortgage rates be? Right now, they're, anywhere from 6.5% to 7.5%, depending on your credit, which has flatlined and crushed demand for housing. What are they going to be at the end of the year? Are they going to be up? Are they going to be down? Nobody knows. It's been really hard to predict where, interest rates were going to go, because a year ago, everyone thought, interest rates would have been cut 10 times by now. Everybody was pricing in a year ago that interest rates would be back at zero by now, but they haven't been. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit more today, and give you a little bit of perspective as to what some of my thoughts are. And these are my opinions, and I just wanted to share that with you, and how I think this is going to impact the economy in the future. So again, I also wanted to say thank you for all of the people who have been watching my videos. I really appreciate it. And all of the subscribers, I really appreciate that too. I never really thought that I would come on YouTube and start making videos, rambling videos about the economy and macroeconomics and interest rates, and anyone have any interest in this topic. So I do. I can drive my truck and listen to a podcast about the business cycle for hours. To me, it's so stimulating. It's actually calming, and it's very informative as well. So again, thank you for all of the viewers and all of the subscribers. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions or concerns, or maybe a different opinion, I would love to hear it. Please, if you could put that down in the comments below, I would love to hear your thoughts, or read your thoughts anyways, and get your opinion as well, because it's informative, it's valuable. I value it, and it's a different perspective. And sometimes in life, you just have to see things from both angles, So that was it. I just wanted to say thanks again, guys, and give you guys my my rambling thoughts. That's all. See you next time, guys.